Hello, Supercars in Seconds here. Today we're going to do a handover video, something I would give to a customer when they take delivery of their 750S, and show you all of the controls, from hooking up a telephone to adjusting everything in the car. From air conditioning to lifting the nose up, everything that you're going to need to know in the car. Launch control, the whole thing. So let's get stuck in with the 750S. To lock the vehicle, you have several ways of doing it, of course, obviously with the key with the padlock image. You also do have down in here, my finger, if you can see it, is pointing at a little button. It's a bit dark in there to see it, but there's a little button right there. It's a little, it's not something that you can actually push in, it's just a glass sensor. So if I close the door back down, let's close him down. I've got the key here again. I'm going to touch the little button, and the way I tell if I've made it successful is I look down in the car at the three buttons here. The middle one is the door lock. So once I've been successful in touching that button, this will illuminate red. So it's like a quick way to tell, because it takes a few seconds for the mirrors to fold. So let's reach down and in there, touch the button. My little red light has come on, and then the mirrors fold in to let me know the vehicle is locked. Right, I'm walking up to the car. I can tell the vehicle's locked because the mirrors are folded in. You can see the McLaren logo shape, of course, in the mirror, as it is everywhere. So I know the car's locked. The key is in my hand, so as I walk up to it, the door handle is a reflection, like a mirror of this particular section here. So I'm going to reach over and show you, but there's a paddle just there. So I'm going to squeeze that paddle, and it will open up the door for us. That's rather nice there. You do have a button underneath here for your alarm, which will allow you to set this now. And when you're going down the road in the back of a truck, you can lock the vehicle and the alarm won't keep going off on it, like a motion sensor. These two buttons here will open up the tonneau cover. That's more for my service guys. If you've done that, the car will ask you on this short paddle here to confirm that the top is empty before it folds the roof down. So it'll say tonneau cover empty, please confirm. You do that by releasing the convertible top button, pulling this, and then the convertible top will continue to operate. So as far as the front trunk, we have obviously our beautiful key here, super slim line, just beautiful. Lock, unlock, and the front wheel is a bump. It's a raised bump. That's how you open the front trunk from the outside. Pushing this firmly, hold it for 3 seconds, it releases the trunk. It takes 3 seconds on the front wheel because there's no secondary latch. It just opens right up for you. We've removed the things in the trunk for now, but I've got inside the trunk, you'll have your, when it's a new car, you'll have your car cover, you'll have your owner's manuals and books, you'll have a little bag here with some American accessories pack if it's an American area car, your tire inflator kit, because there's nowhere to put these great big wheels, of course, and your charging area. In a moment, I'll show you a car behind me that's on charge and how to operate that. Here, with the Americas pack, there's only 3 here, of course, because there are 4 that come with the car. These are tire savers. Pirelli make us a beautiful tire, but it's a soft compound. So I've put one in place underneath this 750. This is how you would position the car. So this is sitting where you would want the car to be. Get the car close to that, slide these 4 things underneath these tire cradles, underneath, just touching the front of each tire with McLaren facing forwards, and then just roll the car onto it. If you're going to leave it for perhaps a month or 2, or even longer, and you're not going to be driving the car, this will definitely save these beautiful McLaren specific tires from getting flat spots. To close the trunk back down, I pull it, I'm kind of weird with fingerprints, but I pull it with this here and lower the trunk right down. You can't slam it down. I recommend just pushing it incredibly firmly with the back of your hand this way, click, and it will always close it right down. If the trunk is not closed, it won't go into gear. So if suddenly you've gone somewhere, you've been moving things around the car and the car won't go into gear, do check that the front latch is closed. I recommend actually releasing it either on the key or through the dashboard. We'll have a look at it in a minute, and then just closing it again, and often that will clear any issues you might have. Okay, well, let's take a look inside now in a minute, but while we're outside, just one more thing. We've got our fuel filler. It's on the left-hand side of the car. Push it and release, And there we have it. There isn't a cap as much anymore, just because, you know, it causes engine lights on cars years ago and things like that, so they got rid of this ages ago. But it works very well. Premium gas, of course, for the turbocharged car. So this little black section here will be inside your, perhaps inside your tire inflator bag, otherwise it'll be in that large leather case thing that's in with the America's pack. What this is for accessing the front trunk if the vehicle has gone dead and the battery is dead. This doesn't actually do it. You need the skeleton key that's inside the key, slots in here, and the little leg of it stands out, giving you more leverage to turn the key. If you've ever tried to turn that key up in the headlight on a 720, 750 or 765 LT, you'll know it's very difficult to do. What you do is keep this, in other words, don't keep it in the trunk. It's not a lot of use in the trunk. I keep it in the center console, you know, down in the center console of the car, or somewhere else other than in the car, basically, where the car is kept. Put it on the wall next to it, next to the charger or something like that. Here, I've got the key, I've loosened it already, but I take that off, the skeleton key lifts out, and it slides into this little section here. I'll see if I can do it with one hand. It might be a bit tricky, but that's okay. It goes in like that, and then you have leverage to turn the key to the left up inside the headlight area and open your trunk. Car cover, of course, often these come back after a few years and they've never been opened, but it is a nice thing to have if you have a dusty area the car is parked in. I recommend 2 people put the vehicle on. The way it's put on is you place it on the front of the car, and you notice a little pocket for the mirror. Put it over the mirror, and then again lift it over the bodywork. Same removing it. I don't recommend dragging it across for obvious reasons, but you may scratch the paint. Any imperfections or dirt on the paint could scratch this beautiful paintwork. So let's have a look at the car behind that. This has the charger plugged in, so not charger, I suppose tender would be the correct word. It is a McLaren specific tender, and you'll see this one is already fully up to charge. When you plug it into the wall, it reaches about 9 feet and goes right in here. There's a little door. You just lift that little door up and put the charger in there. If the vehicle is dead, you will have accessed it by sliding this little lever across, reaching underneath and sliding this little metal clip here across to open the trunk. And then I recommend a slotted screwdriver in here, turn, and then just grab that door and you can pull it out. The battery is then behind that, should you need to actually jump start the car or have maintenance done to the battery. So far as when to use the tender and how to use it, I recommend plugging it in and then just lower the trunk down and let it rest on the cable. Make sure it's not in that little U, of course, just let it rest on the cable and then plug it in and just leave the car. If you lock the car when it's on the tender, it will do some resetting on the car's systems at the same time. So that's worth bearing in mind. If it's on the tender, keep the vehicle locked. Convertible top on VINs after about 5100 can be operated with the key. So the roof is open right now. I'm going to just hold the lock button down on the key, and it should take a couple of seconds and it will start to move. As we know, 11 seconds up or down, up to 30 miles per hour you can operate the top, and as the last thing it'll do is put the windows up for us while it's closing the latches inside. Just a nice feature to have. All right, so let's have a look inside. To close the door, just pull down on this area here. And again, you may not have noticed, but there's a storage just here. It's blended in beautifully, but if there's a little recess there, pull it down. You've got an elastic strap on the inside, and a good storage for sunglasses, wallet, whatever it might be that will fit in there. When the door is open, that won't open to stop things falling out on the floor. Window controls, of course, one touch up and down, and the door handle, it's an electric latch, so you don't need a lot of pressure. Just put your finger on the inside and lift it with one finger and push the door away with your elbow, and up it goes. If there should be an accident in the car where the electric circuits are cut off, back behind the door, I don't know if you can see it here, you've got a little warning triangle and a leather strap. So if the door's ever locked and you can't get out, you just pop, and give this a pull, bang, and it will always release the latch for you. Moving up onto the main dash, I've got the AC vent here, vent open, vent closed, as simple as that. It will wiggle around, of course, but it's as simple as that. I've got one of the tweeters here, part of the Bowers & Wilkins 12 speaker, 1280 watt audio. Just an amazing system. Nose lifter here, we mentioned the nose lifter in other videos. This is a great system now, finally. It's right by the steering wheel, just put your hand on it, bang, and 4 seconds up, 4 seconds down. The wheel can even be turned a bit. It's just, as frankly as it should have been from the start. It's a much better fast operating system now. When you start rolling, this little red light will come on, about 10 miles per hour, letting you know the doors are locked and cannot be accessed from the outside. Again, like a minute ago I mentioned, when you lock the car, check this. When the red light comes on, that means the car's about to lock and everything is good. Also, a front trunk release. You don't need to hold this one, just touching it will pop open the front trunk for you. Main steering wheel, no controls on the wheel well, which I love, just focusing on what's coming at you through that window at very high speed. There's a lot of cars now have a million buttons on the wheel, which I know the racing cars do too, so I'm kind of torn on it, but for a road car I do like it nice and clean. Paddle shifters, down the gears and up the gears, of course. If I wiggle this one, I'll focus on the other one. I'll pull this one and watch this left one. See, they both, it's like a seesaw moving backwards and forwards. So again, you can do the opposite of what it says by pushing it. A nice thing, again, if you're on some winding roads, you can be adjusting it. And it's amazing how quick you can make progress down a road once you've got, once you're used to using the paddle shifters backwards and forwards. Right, down below there, we've got our electric park brake. That's just simply on or off. But if you use your seatbelt, meaning put your seatbelt on before you go into gear, you never need to touch that. When you reach a destination, there is no park down here. Just shut the engine off. It'll put itself in neutral, and then the park brake will come on, so you never need to use it. The only time you'd use it is if you're at a valet station or something, or you wanted to keep the car running and get out. Then you just flick at the bottom of it with one finger. You don't need to pull on it. It's an electric system. That's the separate caliper inside the back wheel further back. Headlights are controlled here. I've got it on the A there underneath, and I've got a 1 and a 2. So turning it to number 1, when it's on the A, you have your automatic daylight sensing lights come on. If I turn it to number 1, in the daytime you have your daytime running lights on. On number 1, your rear lights come on now as well. Turning it to number 2, your actual headlights are on in the daytime. Automatic's actually pretty easy though. Turning it to the left will shut the system right off. This one here, a little fog light, which is a nice thing to have. I have used it in super heavy rain here in Florida. It gets like torrential, crazy rain like fog. Then you might try it, but it is very, very bright for the daytime. So just be aware of that for the other road users around you. This is your steering column adjustment here. It'll take the whole system up and down, meaning that the binnacle on the side here goes with the column as you move it up and down. I've got the engine running now, so I wanted to show you something with the cruise control stalk here. That's the to the side of the steering column. I've got my windshield wipers up high and my cruise control down low. This is to the right of the column. If I take the cruise control above 40 miles an hour, push it forward, it sets the cruise control, then I can change the speed up and down. If I've had to brake, I can pull it back to resume. However, if I'm going slowly or actually stopped, it says limit by pushing it downwards. If I push it downwards, if you watch the display up here, it now says limit 20. Where you'll use that is if you're at a valet stand, or you're lending the car to somebody just to move it around just quickly and you didn't want them to be able to drive it fast. Pushing the cruise control down will set the speed limit to 20 miles per hour of the car, not for the road. The car will no longer go more than 20 miles per hour. If you've accidentally done that, always check that you haven't done that by accident, and then pushing it forward toward the dash and letting go. Well, if you watch up here now, it'll get rid of it when I push it forward. That's it. So I'm actually in a different car now, but I've got the car running. I'm going to turn this down so you can see it. This short left one, I've got my turn signals up here, also my brights and flashing the lights, and turn signals for either side are there. This one here is controlling the left side of my main display. So if I push it down like a turn signal and let go, you'll see that this part will change. There we are, and once you're driving, after a couple of minutes, it will show tyre pressure and tyre temperature all the way around. Not so vital on road, but it's a nice thing to have on track, because it does check the tyre pressures, of course, quite regularly just to make sure it's okay. Something interesting in the McLaren Artura, they now have the Cyber tyre on that car, which I'm sure will come in other models soon. And that one, as soon as you start the car, you can see the tyre pressures and monitors, because it's almost a Bluetooth sensor in the flat part, the wall of the tyre. So it's really an amazing innovation. So I'm going to push it down one more time, going to the next one on the menu. Now this is a picture of the car with an arrow. The arrow means I can pull it towards me and let go, and it'll go into a menu. Here we are. And now I can, again, like a joystick now, I'm going to move it around and select different things. So I've got battery, oil status, rear view camera, messages, servicing, and so on. If I wanted to see one of those, for example, battery, same thing. The one that's illuminated and highlighted, I pull it towards me and let go. It then shows me I'm at 89% battery level. I'm finished with that display, so I do the opposite. I push it towards the dash and let go. And it goes back out to that. I'm finished with this whole page altogether. So one more time, push it away. And it goes back to the picture of the car. Let's go down again. That's our total miles on this particular vehicle. And we're back to our tyres. While we're looking at the main display, of course, we're currently in comfort and comfort mode. In the 750S, you don't have the active button down here. You actually have the speedy Kiwi button, and I'll come back to that now in a minute. So, in other words, the car is always active. You can just adjust the modes. This has a P on it, up and down, so click, and it changes the powertrain into sport. Click it again, changes the powertrain into track, and now you'll see that the display has changed quite dramatically. It's given me my speed now small, my gear selection, and A for automatic. Inside the rocker I have a little manual button, push that. Now it says neutral manual, and you must use the paddle shifters as of now. Touching it again, it goes back to automatic. Rev counter across the top, it shows me my oil and coolant temperatures, and my fuel level, showing you the little arrow that it's on the driver's side to refill it. The 16 gallons is what you're really operating of a 19-gallon tank. 46% is the fuel level if I go into track mode. If I go back down into sport, it changes to a range in miles. Because we're not moving, it's not going to show that. About a half a tank, it would be probably 160 miles or something. And then it's about 300 when it's full. The percentage is shown, again, just on track use. It's easier to glance at that and see how much of a percentage you have left. And over on the left side, we have our H for handling. Again, click it once, it goes from handling goes up to sport. I just stiffened the car about 35%. That's an amazing adjustment. I've mentioned this before in videos, but it's an amazing adjustment. I'll click it again one more time on the top here. That takes it up to track. It's now over 60% stiffer than it was in comfort. That would normally require putting new springs and dampers on the car. Because the system is hydraulic with no anti-roll bars, it allows them to put more and more pressure into those lines. They're braided hoses with these beautiful stainless steel brackets on the end, all throughout the car, powered by the power steering pump. The only thing that's not is the big wing on the back. Actually, the clutch powers that. Again, that's hydraulic, so that the clutch moves the big wing up and down, and that's really a fun thing to watch. So I think the point is experiment with the car. Once you get it, experiment with it. My favorite way to drive a 750S is that, sport and sport. So the left one up to sport, the right one up to sport. And what that does then, it gives you a cylinder cut. It's a bit like the Formula 1 car. They'll effectively turn the cylinders off just for a microsecond during the gear change. And that gives an amazing jolt in the car, because of course the power is broken just for a second. It is an amazing thing. So that's sport and sport only. Doesn't do it in track, doesn't do it in comfort. It's not efficient, it's engineered into the car for some fun. Okay, I've moved the wheel down now just for this last one. Yeah, I'm not going to do it because the car's nice and clean, but this is your windshield wiper and washer control. You can see it's currently right now in the off position. If a drip fell off the building now, I could push it down once and it would flash the wipers twice. And I said wipers, there's a little tiny wiper on the right hand side just because the windshield is so wide and so deep that way. You can see the little arrow for the water, pulling it towards me at any position will wash the windshield, and the water is actually in the wipers, so it runs right actually onto the end of the blades, so it's a very efficient wiper system. The wipers work better at 120 than they do at 80. It's at the higher speed. The shape of the wiper pushes it onto the windshield more and more as the speed increases. Then you've got different intermittent positions. It'll click, click, click all the way up here, all the way up to fast, but clicking it up one position when it starts to rain gives you a sensor that's up in here that will change the speed of the wipers all the way up to fast speed on its own. This is a good one. Further down, of course, is where you adjust your mirrors. It's got a little triangle on the top, so if I click it to the left, it'll into a little recess. I can then push it up and down, and it will adjust that mirror for me. And then clicking it to nothing, and then to the left, does the same thing on the left mirror. But it also has two other things. If I spin it completely upside down, so the triangular part here is facing down at 6 o'clock, it folds the mirrors in for just an occasional use if you're going through a tight garage or into a difficult driveway. The last thing the button does, actually does two things. If the parking sensors, if you're going through a busy city and people are walking across in front of you and it's bugging you, you can just push that in for 2 seconds and hold it, and it will turn the motion sensors on the front of the car. When you're approaching something, the proximity sensors, it will turn them off. But when you reach 12 miles per hour, it'll reactivate them. The last thing it does is really cool. If equipped with the 360 camera system, which this one is, if I push this below 12 miles an hour, if I push this in and let go, if you watch this screen here, I'm going to push it in and let go, it turns my 360 cameras on. I can hear the beepers because we're close to the wall. But if I touch either of these little arrows, it will then dedicate the camera to looking down that side of the car. Hit the X, I can dedicate it to looking forwards as well. Really a nice system. Pushing this back in again shuts that system off. The one last thing to discuss about the main binnacle here is on the left side I also have, within my handling control, a stability control button, electronic stability control, so I'll push that in and let go. Down in the main display, it now goes to ESC dynamic mode, and on the screen it says variable drift control available, so I can go into VDC and hit on up at the top here, bonk, and now I can use this little arrows further down and decide how loose I wish the back end of the car to be. In other words, reducing the traction control 3 degrees at a time. It's rather precise. When you first get the car, I'm not a big fan of being higher than 4 if you try this system. If you get up around 15, you better have your name stitched on the back of your racing suit, because it's a pretty aggressive car in that mode. To shut it off, I turn that off. However, my dynamic traction control is still reduced, so to shut it off completely, I do have to go back up and just push dynamic, put the ESC one more time. Alright, moving into the center screen, 3 buttons now. On 750S we have our launch control, which is a crazy system we'll come back to. Speedy Kiwi. Speedy Kiwi allows you, so if I go, I'm in sport and sport mode here for example, right now I'm going to push and hold the button, and you watch my display over here. I'll push and hold the Speedy Kiwi button, and it says setup saved. What I just did was, when I can start the car now, I can just push Speedy Kiwi. It's a shortcut to get me back into sport and sport, so I haven't got to keep reaching around and pushing the buttons. It just remembers it. Really a nice additional feature, because frankly, I've done close to 30,000 miles in this what's called P14 platform, and it's just an easy shortcut. I really like that one. That's in 750S now as a new thing. Above it we have aero. That's the aero button for the wing on the back. As long as the engine is running, because again the clutch powers it, as I push the button, I'll show you in the rear view mirror. You might be able to see the wing rise up behind me. Here it comes, and it goes into its active position, where you can then get quite a bit more downforce at high speed. You'll really feel a difference above 100 miles an hour that the wing is at up or down. Before we go into the infotainment, down below it you have a nice cup holder here for the passenger, a 12 volt power, so if you want to run a radar temporarily, something, you can put it on the windshield on a sucker and then plug it in just here, or good for charging a telephone or whatever it might be down there. Good storage for your phone is it lays very flat down in there. And then further back we have our waterfall with the gear selectors. Looks like a square, actually, it's drive, neutral and reverse. However, you don't need to use that when the engine is running. Put your foot very firmly on the brake down there, and then you can pull this right paddle, the up paddle, click it, and it'll go into first gear automatic. If I pull then the left paddle only and hold it, it goes back to neutral. So that's kind of a nice one to know. Back down in the center we have our hazard, fingers in the way, hazard warning lights here, and city start-stop, the start-stop function in the car. In warmer climates, it doesn't actually do it very much. In colder climates, it will. Meaning, at lower temperatures, if you're in the comfort mode and possibly sport mode, when you reach a traffic light, it will shut the engine off just to save some fuel, but pushing that will defeat that system. If you're in track mode, it's automatically defeated. The way you tell it's defeated is if you look in the bottom of the display, you can see the little yellow circle. I'll push the button down here, and now the little yellow circle is gone. I'll push it again, and it comes back. So I have the key here. The key will actually fit just in front of the convertible top controls or behind the gearbox in a coupe. Just pushing that down in there, it will lock into position. However, I think a more secure place is on the front of the seat. There's a little tiny pocket. I don't know if you can see it there. The little key will drop right into that little pocket, and then you'll always know where it is. If you're ever climbing your McLaren, you haven't driven it for a while, and the vehicle is having a difficult time starting, sometimes the key stops communicating with the car. An easy way to make that reconnect is to take the key in your hand, if you're having issues starting, hit the unlock button, and you'll notice that the hazard warning lights will flash. There we are. And then you press the brake incredibly hard, hit the starter, and the vehicle will always start. Something the McLarens do is they run and they start. Alright, more down in the center. We've got this little button here. This is for a Spider equipped car, convertible top equipped car, where you have a control of the little window behind my head. If I push this button down, it will open the little window, allowing more of the sound from the outside to come into the cabin. I can also close it back up there. You don't need to operate that one to operate the convertible top. Again, pushing the button down will operate the convertible top. Pulling the button up will close the top. As the name suggests, put the top down, put the top up. Now, if you put it down and hold it 11 seconds, the convertible top will open up, and the world is pretty good. I say you can do this up to 30 miles per hour. It's going to beep. There, I'm going to ignore that, and then it puts the windows down for me. Closing the roof back up on the main screen, it says roof operation in progress. As the roof comes over me, here it comes. The windows go up, and if you keep watching the screen, roof closed. Then you can release the button. Do not release the button before it says that. Of course, as far as safety in the car, you have 6 airbags in the cabin. You might see it says airbag back over there. That's for the door. You then have one up on here. Of course, the bolster of the wheel. You then have one lower down here and down here. So a total of 6 airbags in the cabin. But let's get into the navigation screen and show you all the controls on the infotainment. The screen's very reflective. It's actually kind of difficult to catch it, but when you start the car, that's the display you'll be focused on. So you'll have navigation, your telephone if connected, media, and your traction control settings. If I touch navigation, it'll go right into the screen there. It's a system called HERE. Here is a nice system that was developed by Nokia and purchased by various German car manufacturers, and then we license it from them. What's nice about it from previous McLaren systems, 750S has a faster operating system. So there's where I am in St. Petersburg, Florida here. If I wiggle this around, look how quickly it reacts. You know, it's really following my finger very well. If I hit search in the top left, that's where I'll enter a new destination. I can change my perspective of the map, meaning I can have it facing north, I can have it doing whatever I like. and I can zoom in and out just here. If you have your phone hooked up, it will use your traffic systems in the car and through your telephone, through the internet, to control and give you good traffic updates, showing here that the arrows are working very well on the main road outside where I'm standing. At any point in any of the screens, pushing this little button here, which is your only volume control in the car, you may see like a yin and yang symbol on it. That is the factory where the car was made, the McLaren Technical Centre in England. Technology Centre, so like that's the lake, that's the building. Home, so that's the home button in the car. So I'm in the navigation screen, I can push it just firmly and let go. And it goes back out to that menu. Now, at the top, whatever's illuminated McLaren orange is what you've selected. So that one's there. I've got another little series of boxes here. I'll touch that, and it'll click into a more advanced menu where I've got settings. I can touch that, and there's pages and pages of stuff. Connectivity is where you'll add a new device to the car or whatever it might be. Assistance is where you can change your sensitivity of your parking sensors and so on and so on. Here's a good one, tires. If you can illuminate track use here, it'll stop your tires beeping and giving you a warning light if your tire pressures are low, because you'll normally lower the tire pressure for track use. Clicking this little button when you get to the track will allow you to lower the pressure of the tire and not have a warning. I mean, McLaren really thinks of everything. It's just a great system. So going back out, loads and loads of settings. There's pages of stuff in there. I'm finished with this page for now, so push the bottom and let go, and it goes back to our little list. Ambient lighting. If you have a performance spec or a Tech Lux spec in a 750S, and a lot of 720s again, with performance and luxury, pushing ambient lighting allows you to pick and choose, but make sure that the brightness is all the way up. Your ambient lighting is in here. It's underneath, this is carbon here, but it's underneath that long carbon strip there, and it's down in the footwell as well, in different colors, however you select them. So that's rather nice. This one has the ember orange interior, so we've got it selected in the sort of red ember orange color. If you have McLaren orange, Zest, McLaren orange, you can pick whatever you want. Difficult to see in the daytime, but there's a little light under there now shown in orange. I'm finished with this page, so I'm going to push the button. So you can see however deep you get into the menus, pushing the home button gets you back out. It is also the only volume control button in the car. That's so passenger and driver can reach it. As far as music, again, this one is equipped with the Bowers & Wilkins audio. If I touch media, that's how I access the music. So I have storage, which goes down in here. There's a picture of a telephone next to the USB-C. You can download music into the car, into the Mega Gig hard drive in the car, and a standard USB below it. If you plug in the USB-C here, you can use Apple CarPlay through a wire. It has to be connected, but you can run Apple CarPlay through the screen. The nice thing about it being connected, it's a bit of a pain to have the cable, but the nice thing is it runs incredibly quickly because it is actually physically wired up. Satellite radio, BT, Bluetooth, that's obviously the music within your device. So if you start to play, it will play the music you've selected. FM. Now, it'll show the radio stations down... Oh, gosh, there we are. That woke me up. That'll show the volume. It'll show the radio stations down below. Now, if I want to change the radio station, I can go through my presets here, which would be in favorites. The way you set a favorite is I'm going to touch the lot, not the very bottom of the screen, but just above it in here. I'm going to touch the screen and swipe it upwards. It then shows me all of the radio stations that my antennas in the windshield, you might be able to see the little lines there, my antennas in the windshield are picking up in signal strength. So if I just touch the one I want, it'll go right into that one, and then if I touch it as a little box there, it becomes one of my favorites. So 92.5, touching it, oh hang on, bear with me, touching it, it goes solid, and now that's set as a favorite. Checking it again removes it from the favorites list. One good one is audio. If you touch audio, this is where you adjust your music. So you'll see you've got modes, tone, balance, studio, and on stage. If you're listening to live music, the on stage is a much more surround sound. For example, you have the guitar over there, the drums over here, that sort of thing. Generally, you'll live on studio. Tones at the top is where you'll actually physically adjust your bass and treble. You can click those up and down and so on. And that's all of the audio stuff. To get back out again, guess what? touch our home button. When I'm finished setting up my radio, I just touch the top part. Again, not the very top, but just where it says the words. Just touching that will lower it back down, allowing you to scan, search, and seek between the different presets. The very top of the screen, you see a little tiny white line. If I swipe that downwards, it gives me a little shortcut into some of the menus, including the brightness. Daytime and nighttime. So if it's too bright in the nighttime, swipe it down. You can select a nighttime setting. You can go right into the settings, mute the radio information, but the big deal in this page is the brightness. Make sure it's all the way up for daytime use. Again, I'm finished with that, so I'll touch outside the box and it'll raise it back up. Okay, down at the bottom we have our air conditioning screen. So I'm going to touch that picture of the fan. One of my favorite things, he's got his helmet on, he's in a McLaren. I've got the system off right now, but I'm going to turn it on. It might be a bit noisy against the speaker, so I apologize for that. Okay, so once I switch it on, I can then select where I'd like the air to be focused. I like it like that. I like sync on. Now you see that 63 has gone into darkness. If I take it off, it gets bright again. Meaning, if I turn the temperature up, it changes the control of both at the same time. If the passenger touches theirs, it turns the sync light off, look. So I like sync on. It just makes the control of the system easier. I can do the windshield. I can defrost the windshield, defrost the rear window. In every car in the world, the triangular shaped one defrosts your front windshield, the square one defrosts your rear windshield. I'm finished with that page. Again, I can just hit this, or I can hit the X in the top right corner, but I'll hit the little button here. It'll go back to the previous page that it was on. As I mentioned, I can switch from the McLaren Orange illuminated this page to the other page by touching that, but I can also hit the home screen button again and it'll switch back and forth for me as well. My telephone's actually hooked up to the car, so I'll go into the phone screen and then you can see my most recent calls. I can do favorites and contacts there. This little one is a picture of a keyboard, of course. If I touch the keyboard, it'll be 1-800-HOTEL or whatever you're going to be dialing there. Same thing, if I touch the bottom part, it'll roll up the ones that I've been calling recently. But generally I don't set that many favorites, because generally the recent one, like Alicia, there's my wife, generally the ones you've called most recently will be just shown right there. Same thing as before, guess what? I'm finished with that page. Push the volume control and let go, and it goes back out to our menu. The cable down in here for the Apple CarPlay, you can leave your phone in the cup holder or put it under there. The top one here becomes Apple CarPlay, so then you can just touch it, it'll go right into Apple CarPlay. And again, because it's wired, it's a bit of a pain with the cable, but it does work very quickly because of that. If it's equipped, a 750S will have the HomeLink buttons, 3 buttons under here. To set that for your garage door opener, you push 1 and 3 at the same time. And on the mirror, you'll notice a little image appears, like a little house. I don't know if you can see the orange house there. You hold that for about 15 seconds, and then it'll start to flash green slowly. Get your remote control, push it here, and then select the button that you want it to be on, and it'll start to flash quickly. Once it starts flashing quickly, it's already programmed. Then release the button, look at your garage door. I recommend doing it only about 3 feet away. Obviously not close enough that it closes down on your hood, but quite close to the garage. Once you've got it set and it's flashing quick, release everything, push it and hold it for a couple of seconds, let go. This speed, push it for a couple of seconds and let go. And the third time you do it, the garage door should move. If the garage door does not move, it is set to the car already, so just go into your garage, get a steps, climb up to the controller. On the back of it, there'll be what's called a learn button. Push the learn button, come back to the car, push the button, and it will immediately start to make the door moving. Any questions with that, just contact your local dealer. They'll be glad to come right to your house and do it for you. Just above that, we've got our little light controls. You can see it's currently set for the lights to come on when you open the door, but if I touch that, it's an LED light. Everything, by the way, in the car, exterior and interior, everything is LED, so it should last a nice long time. Touching that again goes back out. One last thing on the center screen. I've given you most things and most controls in the car here today. However, again, you've got that little white line on the top of the screen. I'm going to go above it and swipe it downwards. There it comes. And in the top right corner, you might see a little question mark and a little book. Guess what that is? Your owner's manual. Touch it, and then you've got everything that you might need inside the cabin. I'll touch instruments here, and it goes into overview, central display, driver display. It'll show you everything in the cabin, even with pictures, with all sorts of stuff. You have the owner's manual, of course, in the front trunk, but this is just a quick shortcut if you get stuck on something in the car. Again, it's located, I'll click that back out. It's located up in that top part of the screen there. Swipe it down, hit the question mark, and you can access your digital owner's manual. That's most of it. That's most of the controls in the car. If you can think of anything that you ever get stuck with, just monitor the videos all the time. So just put a question in the comments down below and ask me any questions you have. Your dealer, of course, can definitely help you with any questions. You've got your shortcut in the menu. You have your owner's manual, but that's what you bought the car from a good dealer for, is to ask them for any questions you have, and I know they'll be glad to help you. The cars are truly fabulous. This is more of a technical video showing you how to operate the car, but the big deal is drive it. You've had some great success in your life to be able to buy these cars. Drive them, enjoy them, and experiment with the modes. Get the most out of this car. It is designed to be driven. On a 750S and any McLaren really from 2023 on, you're going to have included maintenance, of course. Scheduled maintenance once a year is covered. So drive the thing. Let's have a bit of fun. It is a fabulous car. And again, I'm Matthew. Any questions you have, put them in the comments down below, or contact your local McLaren dealer anywhere in the world, and they'll be glad to assist. Thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you again on another video very soon.